What's going on, guys? This is Damien from The Lookout, and I have been cooking. As you can see, the chef hat is on. I have been cooking and I came up with the fastest handed destruction deck in the game. Not only the fastest, but also almost completely uninteractive. Yeah, so we're kinda going back to Cell Surge days with this one. But before we begin, if you wish to play this deck, you can do so on our locals every Friday at 8 PM Central European Time. We host webcam locals completely free, proxy legal, open to all regions. Come down, have fun. We usually have around 20-ish players or so in numbers, so it's pretty cool, and you can play the new promos there as well. So, and of course, a huge shout out to the Coffee Club, our lovely patrons. These are our $2 and up patrons. They buy us coffee, they keep this crazy content machine going. And guys, thanks a lot for your support. If you wish to join the Coffee Club, link to our Patreon is in the description below. And I think that's about everything. Roll the video! As with all of our videos, let's start with a breakdown. So, we've been cooking a new Android 13 deck. Yeah, so I came up with this idea when I was going through the leaders, and I was like, wait, yellow Android 13. It's been long enough for this thing to be broken for some arbitrary random reason. So I've made a build, I ran it by Dane, I ran it by Peter Dance and Joe, and we've been cooking a bit, like they gave me some ideas, and this is the final product. So, yeah. Let's start with the archetype breakdown. I'm gonna show you lines of play. I'll show you the deck list. We will do the deck list slides. And then we'll just wrap it up with a summary. Let's go. Let's start with the leader. This is an ancient one. This one came in a Battle Evolution booster. You know, the product that was very cool came out once and then we never got it again. Anyway, admit it. Before you saw the thumbnail, before you knew what I was talking about, you forgot that this leader exists. Admit it, you forgot about this thing. So, this is the fastest hand destruction build that we managed to cook up. It has basically no interaction. Like, there is maybe one interactive element in it. And the rest is just like hand destruction. On the front side, you draw 2 cards, which is amazing. And you set up your awakening. You need to be at 5, specifically 5 or less, and have Androids 14 and 15 in your drop. And then you draw 1 and switch 1 to active mode. So you set up your awakening by tossing the droid, because when you attack, you discard 1 from hand and then you draw 2. You will always awaken on turn 2. You'll always awaken on turn 2. Frieza has a similar thing. And you think like, oh, 5 or less, now you'll always awaken on turn 2, it's fine. Let's check out the awaken side. On the awaken side, our leader is amazing. He draws an attack, he has a cool activate battle ability, that's all cool, but the big thing is this one. Auto, once per turn, when one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode is placed in its owner's drop area by one of your skills, works on either player's turn, your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and discards it. It's a passive discard 1. Passive in a way that you don't need to attack. You can use an effect that just on play KO something, or as activate battle KO something. Doesn't matter, the effect still triggers and your opponent needs to discard 1. Activate battle gives us a plus 5k for free once per turn. It isn't bad. You will see you can use it with your boss monster, for example, just to make him a bit bigger. Now, let's dive into the deck. Okay guys, you know the drill. I am here with Deck Planet, the best deck builder in the world for Masters, Fusion World, One Piece, and Star Wars Unlimited. So we're gonna be going through the deck. Full disclosure, immediately. The deck is more of a core. You still need to optimize it just a bit when it comes to ratios. That's it. So let's start with the leader for all of you who are new. Actually, we don't need to because we went over the leader. We'll be doing Deck Planet and slides. So first off, we have the following. 1 copy of Android 14 and 1 copy of Android 15. These are our 1-drops. Sure, they're nothing really too special, but Android 14 is pretty cool. So, auto, when it's played, you look at top 5 of your deck, you add 1 green or yellow Android card with an energy cost of 4 or less, and you shuffle your deck. He's a tutor. That's fine. The targets that he hits are exceptionally important. The other guy is just here so that you have something to do on turn 1, and that you have a target in your drop later on. If this is your leader, you play him, you draw 1. That's fine. Now we get to one of the cards that make this deck very, very crazy. A card that you probably forgot existed. It's these guys. So, Android Troop 14 and 15. This is an anniversary box card from way back in the day. This is before Unison Warrior. Activate main. Place this card in your drop area from your hand. Discard this card. If your leader is an Android 13, draw 1. A couple of things are happening here. First off, free discard 1, draw 1. So, like I've said, you draw like crazy in this deck. You will see. You draw like a madman. Second, it helps you set up your awakening because it's Androids 14 and 15. And also there will be some effects which play around with this. Then we are going into the meat and potatoes of the build. First important card, Android 14 Stoic Fist. Activate main. If your leader is Android 13 and you choose this card in your hand and 1 Android 15 card in your hand and place them into your drop area, so you discard 2, you will have your targets. You'll always have them. Choose up to 2 cards in your life, add them to your hand, draw 1, then your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and discards it. It's not once per turn, it's not limit 1. So, for basically no investment, you replenish your hand, you draw 1 card, you get closer to your awakening because you draw 2 from life, especially if you're stuck and you need to find something that's in your life. Yeah, sure, 0 energy, take 2 cards, and your opponent discards 1. Now, let's get into the big guy. This card here. Don't roll your eyes, Ivan. I see you doing it. So, my teammate, Ivan. So, Android 13 Adamantine Avenger. Double strike, successor, 1 green, 1 yellow, 30k. That's cool, that's fine. We live in an era where no deflect doesn't matter on a 7 cost anymore. Activate main once per turn. If your leader is an Android 13, which it is, and you choose 3 androids in your drop area, which you will have because you need to have them to actually awaken and stuff, and you send 2 from play into drop with successor, and you bottom deck this card. So you choose them, you bottom deck them, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, KO it, then your opponent chooses 2 cards in their hand and places them into their drop area. Let's talk about this guy. Talking about the boss monster a bit more, he is your big payoff. So this is the card that the entire deck will revolve around. You always play him with successor. He can trigger the leader's discard. Keep that in mind. He can trigger the leader's discard. Because leader has an auto, when you KO a card in rest mode, opponent with a skill, opponent discards 1. This thing KOs a card in rest mode, so he can trigger the leader's discard ability. And he has his own. So if you get the 2 effects combined, you've already ripped 3 cards from hand for 2 energy. Now, there was a big issue with this one in the past. First off, it was a 7 cost and a charismatic villain existed. That's not an issue anymore. And second, successor. Successor was really, really bad for this one. Getting successor 7 is not easy. However, enough cards have come out, so we've managed to fix this issue. We've managed to make it consistent. Here is how. To get to 7, we need 1 4 cost, and that is Android 13, Mission Begins, or Android 13 Cybernetic Onslaught. Their effects don't matter. Like Cybernetic Onslaught is a checkline, you will be charging one, and that's basically it. The other one really doesn't matter. He has like double strike, but okay, sure. We are also running the thing that fixes the way to 7, 3 copies of Android 17 Hell's Guidance and 2 copies of Titan Toppler. Here's why you do this, because, big thing, both of these guys are free. Activate main limit 1. If your leader is yellow and you switch one Android card in your battle area to rest mode, play this card from your hand. So first you play one of the 4 costs, then you use activate main, you play Android 17, that is 7. Or the other route, you first play this guy, Titan Toppler. If your leader is an Android, which it is, your opponent has a battle card in play with an energy cost greater than their current energy, which they always do, this is Dragon Ball, and you have no cards in your battle area, easily achievable, you play this card from your hand without paying its cost. Sure, it's a free cost, and then it has basically, when displayed, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, negate its skills for the duration of the turn, and it can switch to active mode blood. Doesn't matter, you will be KOing it. So yeah, this is how you get to 7. For free almost. I mean, like basically you just pay 1 energy. And then finally we have this guy. So, let's talk about him. Cell Metamorphosis of Despair. I am not super sold on running more than 2 because basically his only ability that matters is if your leader is a green or yellow droid and you don't have battle cards in play, he's a free play, you play him from your hand, and if you have 4 or more energy, declare a number from 0 to 3, and this card's energy cost is increased by the declared number. There's only one reason why we run this guy. Now I'll just quickly jump into the slides and I'll go over all of these things. To make it easier to follow, I'm jumping into 2 slides again. So you need 7 in your battle area. You start with these guys. They're both 4 cost. They cost just a single energy to get out. So for 1 energy, 4 cost body comes out. Then you need a free cost to get to 7. You have these 2. Both of them are super crucial because they are the only way to just get to 7 super fast. Both of them are free plays. And the only thing that you need to keep in mind is sequencing. But once you do this, you will get 7 on the field for just a single energy. And as for Cell is your late game piece. So eventually you will get to 4 energy. At that point, you no longer need to combo from hand to rival guys and stuff like that. No, you just play Cell for free. You use his activate main, you say he costs 7 now, bam, immediate successor target, pay to go into Adamantine Avenger. Yeah, so free successor setup once you have 4 energy. Now before I jump into the entire combo chain, let me show you the last card that you need. 4 copies, again you can play with ratios, of Dark Temptation Tova. For those of you who don't know, it's the best overrealm in the game, if you're green or yellow. Yeah, it is. I'm not giving up on this. It's hand destruction. Auto, when you play this card using Overrealm, if your leader is green or yellow, because yellow doesn't usually use this one, choose one your leader and it gets plus 5k for the turn, and your opponent chooses one in their hand and discards it. Now, here is the combo chain. For argument's sake, let's say that this is your awakening turn, right? You start, you charge 1, draw 1. Then you use the 4 cost android's activate main, you take 2 lives to go down to 5, your opponent discards 1. Then you attack, there's no negates, you combo with the droids for free. These droids, I will show them to you later, basically they're a free combo. And they're multicolored. So you pay 1 for the arrival, you bring out the 4 drop. Now you awaken. Okay. Because you have Android 17 in your hand, you can use its activate main, you switch the 4 cost into rest mode, and you play Android 17. Congratulations, now you have 7 and you have 2 active energy. you pay 2 and you successor into the big guy. The big guy comes into play, he KOs a card, opponent discards 2 cards from hand. Because you have KO'd a card, if you've managed to do that, your leader's auto will trigger, forcing your opponent to discard 1. Then, when you have enough cards in your drop, and you will have, trust me, you will have enough in your drop, you use Overwhelm, you go into Tova, your opponent discards 1 card again, your leader gets plus 5k, and then you can choose whether you wish to just pass the turn or do you want to go aggressive and start attacking. Okay, that was a lot of things, so let's summarize. Here's what you did in 1 turn. You discarded 5 cards in total. Yes, the yellow 4 costs effect discards 1, 2 from the Adamantine Avenger, 1 from your leader, 1 from Tova. 5 cards gone. Furthermore, you drew 7 in this turn cycle. Not turn cycle, since the start of your turn. 1 for the turn, 1 from the 4 cost, he draws you 1. He also grabs you 2 lives, so you got 3 cards from 1. You got 1 for Awakening, and you got 2 for attacking with your unawakened leader. You drew 7. You got to KO something, your boss monster is out, and your leader is 20k. Yeah, all in 1 turn. The earliest that you can do this is on turn 2, though it depends a bit on cards in play, because sometimes you will not get your leader's discard if your opponent just leaves something in active mode or just combos it away. It's still fine because then you discard 4. Like, okay, I've discarded 4. It's just 1 less. You can do this every single turn. You will not get the same draw power anymore, but you will get the same discard power. Draw power is here mostly because you go to Awaken as well. But you will be able to discard 5 cards again and again and again because you have everything that you need. You don't need to Awaken on the same turn to make this happen. So some of you, like my teammate Ivan, are probably thinking, well, this is cool, but like, is it consistent? Yes, it should be consistent because you have your draw for the turn and you have your leader's draw, right? Then you're running 4 copies of the green droids, which discard themselves to draw you a card. You're running 4 copies of Android 14, which isn't limit 1 and isn't 1 per turn, draws you a card and grabs 2 from your life. Just with the amount of draw power, your leader on Unawakened also draws 2 before you even get Awakened. You will be flying through your deck. You'll be flying. I will be shocked if you tell me, hey, I have reached turn 5 and I still had cards in my deck. So you will see everything that you need. And if anything is stuck in the hand, you use Android for anything is stuck in your lives, you use Android 14, take 2 lives. Dig through your lives, get your pieces that you need. 4 copies of the droids, these ones don't matter, you'll never pay 2 for them. The only important thing is that if your leader is yellow or an android, they are a free combo and they're multicolored. That's the only thing that matters. 2 copies of Krillin, 2 copies of Chilai. You can play Cell instead of Chilai. I'm playing this split for 2 reasons. First, you draw like a madman, and second, I feel like sometimes there is a small possibility, but it's a possibility that you might break and that you need the multicolored, and then you can just combo with Chilai. Probably if you run through the numbers, if you manage to optimize the list, you can probably go with more Krillins. And then for the SCR, we have Celzino. I just want to talk briefly about the SCR choice. So there are 2 viable choices, Celzino or Porunga. However, it depends on the build that you are running. There are ways to modify the build, right? So if you're looking to go full hand control into the late game, you go with Cell because you need a way to close the game. You need a way to close the game somehow. If you're looking to go with more of an aggressive build and with more of an aggressive hand destruction very early on, you go for Porunga. Because there is a card in the sideboard which can help you modify the deck a bit so that you don't need the Cell to close the game, but you can still hand destruction enough to go aggro with your opponent and use Porunga. Okay, so as you have seen, Chef's head is already falling off, it's tired. Let's just wrap it up. Extra cards, nothing special. 1 army reinforcements, 1 final flash, 1 power of a Super Saiyan, 2 time magics and 2 nimbuses. The deck is 53 cards in total. I believe that it should be 50 to make it even more consistent. So like I've said, it's not the perfect build. A lot of it is still theory work, and I'm pretty sure that better deck builders than me can make this deck even more optimal and can actually get it down to 50. One last thing that I wanted to talk to you about is this thing, Flash Bomber. So I thought like maybe put this one in the sideboard, not as an actual sideboard card, but more as a hey, this is something that you can do. Because you can, if you wish to do so, go with Porunga instead of Cell, and then become more aggressive with your boss monster. In that case, you're using Flash Bomber, because if you're left with an extra energy and you've already ripped like 5 cards from your opponent's hand, they likely will not have a negate, and they will think, well, he's gonna swing 30 double at me, he's gonna give me 2 cards, then you pay 1, Flash Bomber, 40 double crit, you rip 2 cards from lives. Yeah, so that's the way that you can actually go aggro and close the game earlier without having to wait turn 5 to go into Cell Xeno, and you can run Porunga. So yeah, that was the deck. Before we end the video, let's quickly jump into the summary. So this is the fastest hand destruction build in the game. Yeah, nothing else can rip 5 cards from hand as fast as this deck can. The list is still a very early build and it needs extra optimization, but the core is here. So the core idea, the core combo, and the cards that you need are here. They just need a bit more playing with ratios, a bit more optimization. You can take 4 or 5 cards away per turn easily, and you will just fly through your deck lightning fast. Overall, I'm not sure if it's gonna be meta viable in its current state, especially not in my current build. Look, the chef head has just been sliding off the entire time. I'm not sure if it's gonna be meta viable, like is it gonna be the next tier 1 deck in this state, like the one that I've built, but I feel like there is some potential here. That's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below, are you hyped to play Yellow Android 13? Do you think that this chef has cooked up something good, or am I, by the words of Gordon Ramsay, idiot sandwich? Let me know in the comments below. I read all of your comments, I try to respond to everything, I love our little community. And guys, while you're here, share the video, share the good word of hand destruction, hit those like and subscribe buttons, help us get to 6k subs when I'm gonna give away a booster box. This has been Damien from The Lookout, and I'll see all of you in the next video.